Welcome to the Self-Care Savage podcast. Self-Care Savage is a term I've coined that combines elements of self-care in a more assertive and bold approach, taking care and growing self-worth. On the Self-Care Savage podcast, we will explore how self-care and self-worth are always in the driver's seat in all parts of our lives, in how we act and react to life. Breaking free from negative thought patterns, the Self-Care Savage approach. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Self-Care Savage podcast, where we're all about discovering real ways to feel better, build some serious self-worth, and maybe learn to laugh at ourselves along the way. Today, we're diving into a game changer for anyone struggling with negative thoughts, because let's face it, that's just about all of us at some point, right? I know I'm not alone when I say I've had my share of why does this keep happening to me moments. Today, I want to break down two concepts I've personally found helpful and believe can work together to really turn things around. First, we've got cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, if you want to sound like you know what you're talking about, and the Reticular Activating System. That's the RAS, which sounds something like you buy for a car engine. But trust me, it's all about your brain. We're talking about science, psychology, and practical tools here, all wrapped up in self-care savage mindset. It's all about moving from feeling stuck or like a victim to building rock solid self-worth. And hey, if I can do it, you can do it. Okay, so we know what the problem is: negative thought patterns. So let's talk about those negative thought patterns. You know the ones. They pop up like clockwork when things don't go right. Have you missed a deadline at work? Boom! Your brain tells you, I'm just a failure. Friend cancels plans. See? Nobody cares about me. It's like our minds love creating a reality where we're always getting the short end of the stick. But here's the kicker. Just because these thoughts feel real doesn't mean they are. CBT, which has been backed by experts like Judith Beck, who literally wrote Cognitive Behavioral Therapy, Basics and Beyond, talks a lot about our thoughts, how our thoughts impact our emotions and then our actions. If you think you're a failure, guess what? You're going to feel like a failure, and then you're going to act like a failure. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it can keep us stuck in a victim mindset. But with CBT, we start to recognize these patterns and say, hold up, is this thought helping me or is it dragging me down? And hey, I get it. It's not easy to notice these thoughts in real time. They happen so fast, it's like trying to catch water in your hands. But CBT is all about stopping and looking at what we're thinking, like pressing pause on a movie and saying, wait, is this actually true? So how do we start using it? Well, it's all about a few core tools that are pretty simple once you get the hang of them. So number one is thought journaling. Before you say, oh, I'm not into journaling, hear me out. This isn't about writing poetry or deep diary entries. It's just about jotting down that thought that messed with you today. Like, I'm always screwing things up at work. Once you see it on paper, it's a lot easier to question it. Is it really true? Do you mess things up all the time? Probably not. Most of us are way harder on ourselves than we need to be. So let's reframe all this. Okay, so number two, reframing. This one is powerful. Say your thought is, I'll never be good enough. Reframing says, what's a more balanced way to see this? Maybe it comes, I'm still learning and I'm getting better every day. Even if it feels weird, you start planting new seeds in your mind, and those seeds grow. Three, action-based shifts. Sometimes you just need to do something. It can be as small as going for a walk or calling a friend. You are telling your brain, we are not going to sit here and wallow. I've done this countless times when I'm feeling off. Just get moving, even if you're not sure what the next thought is. I had a day last week where just everything was blah. Every little thing seemed to go wrong, and my thoughts were all over the place. But by using this reframe, I was able to shift from, wow, this is the worst day, to, okay, what's one thing I can control right now? And that one thought turned everything around. So this next part is going to blow your mind. I love this. I loved learning about it. It's the Reticular Activating System, filtering the good stuff. Now let's talk about that a little bit. It's just, again, it's really amazing. It's a bundle of nerves in our brain that acts like a filter for everything we see and hear. You know, when you're thinking about buying, say, a new car, and suddenly you start seeing that car everywhere. That's the RAS at work. Dr. Sarah McKay talks about this in the book, The Women's Brain Book, how the RAS is basically our brain's bouncer, deciding what gets in and what stays out. If you are focusing on all the stuff going wrong, your RAS will keep filtering in everything that proves that belief. But if you focus on things going right, it'll bring more of that your way. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. You can literally train your brain to look for the good stuff. A couple of ways to train your RAS: positive visualization. This might sound a little woo-woo, but, but it's actually backed by science. Spend a few minutes each day picturing something good happening. You'll start noticing small moments where things go right. And of course, gratitude practice. I know you've heard this from me before, but it works because it shifts your focus. When you are looking for things to be grateful for, your RAS is like, oh, that's what we're doing now. Let's find more of that. Setting daily intentions. Each morning, set a small intention like, today, I'll find calm in stressful situations. Do this often enough, and your RAS will naturally start filtering in opportunities for calm instead of chaos. So, true story. I was craving tacos recently. Y'all saw my post on the taco thing. And I swear everywhere I looked, there were taco ads, taco trucks, and taco recipes. My RAS was on a taco mission. So just imagine what it could do if it was turned into something like confidence, self-worth, or gratitude. All right, so let's start blending CBT and RAS. This is the self-care savage approach to high self-worth. So why am I talking about both of these? Because when you put CBT and RAS together, you get a system that doesn't just help you stop negative thinking, but actually builds a positive focus. Here's how it works. Number one, step one, interrupt the negative. Use CBT to catch a negative thought. Step two, reframe it. Make it positive or at least balanced. Step three, activate the RAS. Visualize yourself as the person who believes the new thought. Hold that image for a few seconds. For example, let's say you think, I'm not good enough. First, catch it, then reframe it. Two, I'm enough as I am. I'm learning every day. Now see yourself as that person who's enough. Picture it in a real life scenario, even if it feels silly. And the more you do this, the more your RAS starts filtering in proof that, yeah, you are enough. I can't tell you how many times I've caught myself in that negative thought over the years. You know, I've talked about it a lot. And just that moment of catching it changed my whole day. And over time, these small moments stack up. Been doing it for years. It works, guys. Okay, so here's some tips on how we can actually do this. Start small. Pick one or two tools. Maybe start with reframing and a negative thought each day. Then add in gratitude practice. Set reminders. Use sticky notes, alarms, whatever works for you. You're basically training your brain so little reminders help. Share with others. If you have people in your life who are into this stuff, talk about it. Share your wins and your struggles. It makes the journey way easier. And look, this isn't about perfection. I still have bad days all the time. But when you have tools like CBT and RAS, it's a whole lot easier to get back on track. And you are doing it not just for yourself, but for everyone in your life who benefits when you're the best version of you. How many times have you guys heard me say that? The better you are for yourself, the better you are for everybody in your life. All right, that's it for today, guys. I hope this episode gives you a fresh way to look at your mind and how you can start shifting those old thought patterns. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint, but with each day, each little shift, you're building a stronger, happier version of yourself. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you've enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe. And hey, leave a review if you've got a sec. It really helps the podcast grow. Until next time, keep being the self-care savage you are. Thank you for listening, and I hope the Self-Care Savage podcast has helped you in some way to start your own self-care savage journey. If you have any questions, suggestions, or just a comment on today's show, there is an email in the show notes.